UrbanBroadcastMedia.com Chicago.
And around the world where your voice is heard. This is UBM Talk.
We're all hungry for change and thirsty for a formula that produces a successfully managed lifestyle. Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Cook. Join me on my new show, Eat to Live, on UBM Talk, every Thursday at 1 p.m. Tune in so we can discuss and learn exactly what it takes to eat healthfully, live life longer, and enjoy it prosperously. That's Thursday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. only on Urban Broadcast Media. That's Eat to Live with Dr. Gerald Cook. That's Thursday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. only on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com.
Join Dee Dee Osobor every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. for My Sister Talking, as we discuss the issues and disparities of women in recovery. Plug in to hear about different experiences and success stories from people who have overcome the challenges of reconnecting with society, family, friends, and have repaved their path. Heal your own heart and spirit by joining the conversation with My Sister Talking every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on UBM Talk.
Hi, I'm Neil Harper.
And I'm Takora Rogers.
Listen each Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for Ubuntu, Humanity Towards Others, right here on UBM Talk Radio. It's a radio show that deals with everything in the African American community, from Miami to Moscow. We'll deal with your issues, so give us a call and let us know what those are. That's Ubuntu, Humanity Towards Others, right here every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. on UBM Talk Radio.
The Damon Williams Show.
We went to the set up Arsenio. We were in the audience. Anytime you see a white woman with a clipboard, chances are that person's going to be on TV. They're going to put a little dab of whipped cream here and here and here. That heifer squeezed that whole damn can of whipped cream all over my face. And then after she licked it off, my little dirty old man neighbor, who never has two words to say, I look out, he's standing at his Sunday best. So you like whipped cream, huh?
The Damon Williams Show, Wednesdays, 2 to 4 p.m. on UBM Talk.
Welcome. I am Sky Shy Travels, Janice Temple, your host for the Sky Shy Travel Guide, every Travel Tuesday at 1 p.m. on UBM Talk. I was also a flight attendant for 7 years at a regional carrier where I flew across the United States, Canada, and the Bahamas. We are going to talk about flight tales, flying insider secrets, and flying hot topics. Check me out every Tuesday at 1 p.m. on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com.
The following show is paid programming and does not necessarily express the views and opinions of Urban Broadcast Media and its subsidiaries.
Thank you for listening to UBM Talk.
Hey, it is Dr. Shanika Williams here, and you have joined the Diva MD Show. Welcome, guys. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so glad you decided to tune into the Diva MD Show. That excites me. I actually missed you guys. Last week I did not have a show. However, some of you all may have heard the replay. I took a break for the 4th of July, so I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday. But do know that I missed you. And in the midst of those couple of weeks that I haven't been able to talk to you guys, boy, I tell you, some things have been happening in my life that I promise you would say the devil is really trying to tear you down. But what I will say is that over those course of those 2 weeks, I really had to implement my faith, implement everything that God means to me. I actually had to use that verse. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can't tell you how many times, because I've definitely had some trials, but guess what? In the end, I had some victories and some testimonies. So with that, I am, just excited to be here. I'm glad you guys are with me another week. God bless you, and just have a wonderful, wonderful evening with me tonight, because we have actually a very interesting, very controversial topic tonight, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be explosive. It will generate some questions. It'll have you guys asking, is this for me? Is this not for me? Is this for my family member? So we're definitely gonna get into that. I have a very special guest with me today. Her name is Attorney Gina Harrison. Hey, Gina.
Hey, how are you?
Not that Martin Gina.
No.
We're talking about Attorney Gina Harrison in the building with me. You guys don't know this, but Gina and I actually went to grammar school and high school together.
Yes, we did.
We have some history. But I tell you, I got some amazing friends who do some wonderful, wonderful things. So I'm very, very proud of her, and I'm so glad to have her on the show with me today. Just so you guys know, Gina Harrison, she's a practicing attorney. She focuses on municipal law, employment law, corporate law, and general litigation. She actually received her Juris Doctorate from the University of Missouri School of Law in 2010. So you have done some great things since then. What have you been doing since 2010?
Well, when I graduated from law school, I went to get my Master's of Public Administration from George Washington University.
Nice.
Yes, and
she's official, y'all.
Yes, I'm official. I'm official as best as I can be. And I graduated there from 2012. And after I graduated from GW in DC, I moved back to Chicago because I was licensed here as a practicing attorney, and I started practicing with a small foreclosure litigation firm. So I was doing foreclosure for about 8 months or so. Okay. And then after that, that's when I transitioned into the firm that I'm at now. And yes, I focus on a lot of things, but my general expertise and where I see my career heading is in municipal law.
Nice. Yeah. Good. So that actually brings us to our topic.
Yes,
which is a very interesting topic, a very controversial topic. If you guys would like to follow me on Facebook, if you want to ask questions, you can definitely do that at divamd.discoveryourself. You can also go to Instagram at DivaMD929 or Twitter, which is the same, DivaMD929. Or you can call in. I haven't even told you on the topic. This is just how controversial this topic is, so I got to give it a nice little intro. But if you want to ask questions as well, you can go to call in at 312-754-4333. The topic of discussion today is actually the medicinal use of marijuana. This is a very controversial topic because, smoking and the selling and distribution of marijuana has been illegal for as long as I have been breathing. So, however, there has been some reports that there have actually been some relief of symptoms from chronically ill patients from the use of marijuana. Not medical grade marijuana, but just your regular Joe off the street corner marijuana. There are some cancer patients that say it helps with, nausea and vomiting. Sometimes they have decreased appetite, so when they smoke, it increases their appetite so that they can eat a little bit more. So this has been a very, touchy subject, especially in legislation, because it has been outlawed initially. Right. And now there have been shown that there's actually some medical uses for marijuana. So I do want to talk, we'll talk a little bit about some of those medical uses, but I do want to get into kind of the legislation of medical marijuana.
Great. Yeah, so the state of Illinois actually became the 20th state that created a statute that's called the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Pilot Program Act. And what this act does, it authorizes the use of cannabis grown and distributed by state licensed facilities for patients diagnosed with a qualifying debilitating medical condition. So this statute came into effect January 1, 2014. And it has
fairly new.
Right, it's a fairly new statute, and it has a sunset date which is the end date of December 31st, 2017. So it's a 4-year pilot program. And some people believe that it's expected to become permanent after the end date.
It's a pilot, just like any TV show and pilots. If it don't go well, it may or may not make the cut, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what it means. Illinois is actually considered to be one of the most restrictive medical cannabis laws in the nation. But as the years progress, people are tending to believe that it will become less restrictive with time. As far as debilitating medical conditions, you can probably speak more to this, but in order to qualify to participate in this type of program, the statute outlines certain qualifying conditions that your primary care physician would have to diagnose you with in order for you to be able to get a prescription of cannabis to be able to be fulfilled. And some of these qualifying conditions
we'll talk about that, but one of the interesting things that I read about the physicians prescribing it, you just can't go to any doctor and say, hey, I have this chronic pain, I need you to prescribe, this cannabis for me. It doesn't work like that. What happens is you have to actually have taken care of this patient, for their pre-existing condition.
Right. It has to be a certified doctor-patient relationship.
Absolutely. And on top of that, the physician has to be treating the condition for which they're prescribing the cannabis for. So for instance, I am a family practice physician, right? So I am a general practitioner. However, I may have patients who have cancer, breast cancer, or any other type of cancer, right? However, we send our patients out to see specialists, right? So that specialist who is taking care of that patient's breast cancer or colon cancer or whatever type of cancer and whatever pains that are associated with that would be the doctor prescribed. So they couldn't come to me as the primary care physician because I'm not treating that condition.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, yes, I'm off the hook. Hallelujah.
Right.
Because we get so, interestingly enough, since the mandate has come out, we do get a lot of requests. And, some people, you're like, come on. We know you just smoked just off GP. Right. But then there are other people who really do have these chronic debilitating diseases that, perhaps could definitely benefit from something like this. So some of those qualifying medical conditions include, like I said before, cancer, glaucoma. It helps decrease the pressure in the eyes. Let's go back. With cancer, it's usually the nausea and vomiting that's associated with the chemotherapy treatment, not necessarily the cancer itself. You have hepatitis C. There's a whole list of things. Patients that have HIV, AIDS. Some of the things that you might hear are patients that have multiple sclerosis, who have problems with their muscles and spasticity. So the medical marijuana would help, kind of alleviate some of those symptoms. Patients that have spinal cord brain injuries, or spinal cord injuries and traumatic brain injuries. Those are the type of patients that would qualify. So yeah. So with that, tell us a little bit more about who exactly does this legislation affect?
Right. So once the patient is prescribed or diagnosed with this qualifying condition and they receive a recommendation from the physician for cannabis, what they would do is they would apply for an ID card from the Illinois Department of Public Health. And the Illinois Department of Public Health will process their application. And once their application is approved, then these patients would obtain their cannabis from one of 60 state licensed dispensaries. So let's back up for a second. The Pilot Program Act allows for dispensaries and cultivation centers. Okay. The dispensaries are the businesses that will sell you the cannabis. Okay. The cultivation centers are the ones that will grow the cannabis and sell the cannabis to the dispensaries.
Got it.
So the dispensaries, there are 60 licenses available for these businesses.
For the entire
state of Illinois. Okay. There are 22 cultivation center licenses up for the entire state of Illinois. Okay. And so once the Illinois Department of Public Health approves your application, the patient can then take their ID card and go to a dispensary and purchase the cannabis from a dispensary. Okay. And what they can get is 2.5 ounces every 2 weeks.
Now, is that just the dried seed, or because there are different formulas too, right? You can get the liquid form. You can smoke it. You can
Drink it.
Yeah, drink it. Put it in food.
I think it encompasses all of the
Okay.
different variations.
Okay.
And so every 2 weeks you can get 2.5 ounces, and the ID card will actually keep track of how you are purchasing and utilizing
Okay.
this.
Okay. And then there's also a cost associated too with these cards, correct? I think they just recently changed it. Originally it was I think $175, and they brought it, or $150. They brought it down to $100 for patients with chronic illnesses, and then patients that are disabled, it would only be $50. They just changed that in April
For the ID card specifically. Okay.
Yeah, you have to when you apply. That's your application fee.
Okay,
Right.
yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a fee for everything.
Oh,
so.
it's the state has to make their money, and I am emphasizing that because that's what the state does. Anyway. So when can we expect these laws to actually take place? And before you answer that, if you are just tuning in, you have reached Dr. Shanika Williams on the Diva MD show, and we are keeping you medically up to date on things that affect our communities. And unfortunately, right now we have a lot of patients that have chronic medical issues that may require or may actually potentially be improved, their symptoms be improved by the use of cannabis. So that's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about medical marijuana in Illinois, and I have attorney Gina Harrison with me, and she is doing a fabulous job of breaking it down to us so that we understand how this thing works and how we can actually use this to the benefits of those who actually need it. So back to the original question, when can we expect the laws to take effect?
So the law is already in effect, right?
Okay.
January 1st, 2014. But the reason why people haven't been seeing these dispensaries or cultivation centers in the areas yet is because the legislature is still kind of working out the specifics.
Okay.
And so once the specifics are worked out, probably toward the end of this year, early next year, what'll happen is the individuals that are interested in competing for these licenses for these businesses, the Illinois Department of Finance and Professional Regulation will upload on their website a RFP, which is a request for a proposal, which is asking for solicitations for applications to apply for these state licenses. And it'll be a long process. Well, maybe not that long, maybe 3 to 6 months, where you'll get in an application, an interested party or interested group of people who want to compete for a license will get in an application per the specifications of the RFP, and they will then, the state agency will then grade these applications and then give out the 60 licenses to the dispensaries or 22 licenses for the cultivation center.
Okay.
So this whole process can take up until 2015 at some point, probably early or mid next year. And so once that process is done, then you'll start to see these businesses around the state of Illinois. And once they're up and going and you have your ID card, you can go and purchase.
Absolutely. Okay. So right now, Illinois citizens, are they able to start applying for this card?
I'm not quite sure just as yet
Okay.
because the licenses aren't even given out yet.
Okay.
And so these regulations are still kind of being specified. And
Okay.
so it's still being developed.
Okay. The reason why I asked, because I remember a patient of mine asking about that, and I'm like, let me do some research, and I looked up, and it looked like they were able to at least fill out the application. As far as it being processed, it's probably a whole different story.
Right.
But I think if you, don't get me to telling tales, but you should be able to at least fill out the application.
With the Department of Health. Okay.
There you go. And then where would these dispensaries be? Where would they be located?
Right. And so there's 60 licenses available. And so, of course, the state agencies have come up with zoning, right? Zoning laws take into effect. And so they're all over the state of Illinois. You have 22 dispensaries being lined up outside of the Chicago metropolitan area. a couple in various police districts. You have 14 dispensaries within the Chicago metropolitan area, but outside of Cook County, which means like DeKalb County, DuPage County, Kane County. Then you have 11 dispensaries being lined up within Cook County, but outside of the city of Chicago.
Okay.
So that means like Bloom and Thornship townships, Calumet, Stickney, and Worth townships. And then you have 13 dispensaries within the city of Chicago.
Okay.
And so it's
so they have, okay, go ahead.
And so within the city of Chicago, you have 2 for the Hyde Park Township, 2 for Lake Township, 1 for Rogers Park Township. So it's pretty spread out.
Nice.
How they're laying out the access for patients with these debilitating medical conditions. And the reason why they're doing that is because they want these patients to be able to get medication accessibly and easily and conveniently.
Okay. So let me talk a little bit about some of these medical uses. What I found very interesting was that there are actually over 460 compounds in marijuana. Okay. Just listen to these numbers, it's staggering. It's over 460 different compounds in marijuana. 80 of them are actual cannabinoid out of the 460. Okay. Of those, maybe 2 or 3 have been studied.
Wow.
So there's actually an oral pill that you can take as well. That is one of the main components is THC. That's one of the compounds that's been studied. So you can get that in a pill form, and you can have some of those effects. With the decreased nausea and vomiting, helping the pain, the whole nine. But I just thought that it was very interesting that out of 460 compounds in what you're smoking, only 2 or 3 of them have been studied. So there's no, and that's part of the problem, is that medical marijuana is not FDA regulated. So it's not regulated like the prescription drugs that you get from your physician. So this may be a great thing for some people, right now, but we don't know the long-term effects of chronic marijuana use. We know that short-term use, you may have some dizziness, some lightheadedness, some hallucinations, some itchiness, maybe an increased appetite. But some of the long-term problems is like psychosis. One of the recommendations is that for patients that have a history of psychosis, that they not be recommended for medical marijuana use.
And why is that?
Because it can induce psychosis. So, we have to weigh the pros and cons of, is this really something that will be beneficial to the person? And that's where the physicians come in. So, for those of you guys listening, you might say, you know what, I'm gonna smoke my weed. I got glaucoma. I know it hurts it helps my eyes, or, I got this chronic neuropathy pain in my legs, and, I'm just gonna smoke me a little weed, and, I'm gonna make it all right. You say that that's your medical use without it being regulated or monitored by a physician, right? But you don't know the long-term effects of it. So that's why I advise those that if that's something that you are considering, is to wait, or at least ask for the medication in the pill form that you can get from a prescription from your doctor, because that particular element in that pill has been studied extensively versus just smoking who knows what from your local corner store. Your local corner store. Right? I'm just saying, if you are tuning in, you have tuned into the Diva MD show with Dr. Shanika Williams. Here I have attorney Gina Harrison with me. And before we go, we have a few more minutes. I do want to know some of your thoughts on the pros and cons of the pilot program.
Sure. I think possible positive side effects would be, of course, these dispensaries would bring commerce, especially since licenses are relatively limited and may draw outside visitors. These cannabis organizations, the dispensaries, can create jobs within the local community. There could be community benefits such as group classes, activities, and outreach, and that's always a positive thing.
Sure.
But of course, there's negatives too. This is a cash-based system. If I didn't notice that, if I didn't let you all know before, this is only strictly cash-based, and so that in itself brings dangers to the community, right? It's some residents within the community may strongly oppose having these types of organizations within their residential areas. Well, not residential, but because it can't be in a residential area, but within their community. So the community image at large may be impacted to some degree. And, there's always, because it's cash, it's always dangers of violence and outbreak and stuff like that. So
absolutely.
There's a give and take.
We got to have some serious security at the cannabis dispensaries.
Exactly, and that's a part of the
like.
regulation. Like these dispensaries have to have 24-hour surveillance.
Absolutely.
And I actually went to Arizona and visited some dispensaries as well. And one dispensary had an armed guard standing outside.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty intense.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. So this is definitely not something that you're going to be able to just walk in, ask your local doctor to give you a script. You have to have some qualifying medical conditions.
Right.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Attorney Gina Harrison, in the house, in the building.
No problem. Thank you for having me. This was great.
I appreciate it. You promised to come back?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I got to get all the promises I can get before you leave.
Absolutely.
Where can they find you?
You can find me on my email at oliviagina79@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope you guys learned a lot and have been educated on the medical uses and the legislation surrounding medical marijuana. I am so glad you have stayed with me. And guess what? We got the Diva Lounge coming next. You do not want to miss this. See you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
If you and your family have been affected by violent or traumatic death, if you are in the grief process and you have not found a place and a way to heal, the Dwelling Place is a time where we have set aside to provide comfort, conversation, resource, and a place of healing for those who are hurting, where we unmask the pain for the purpose of healing. I'm Reverend Oscar Creer, your host. Tune in Saturday afternoons from 3 to 4 o'clock, urbanbroadcastmedia.com.
Hi, I'm Neil Harper.
And I'm Takora Rogers.
Listen each Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for Ubuntu, Humanity Towards Others, right here on UBM Talk Radio. It's a radio show that deals with everything in the African American community, from Miami to Moscow. We'll deal with your issues, so give us a call and let us know what those are. That's Ubuntu, Humanity Towards Others, right here every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. on UBM Talk Radio.
Hey, Tanya, I need to get this report from you. You look upset.
Yeah, I just got a call from the school. My son is sick. Now I have to take off from work and to the doctor's office. It's so frustrating because we sit there for hours without being seen.
Sorry to hear that. You should consider Divine MD Concierge Services. They have physicians to come to your own home at your own convenience. I always get the VIP service.
Really?
Yes, and as stressed as you look, you could sure take advantage of their mobile spa services too.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yes, girl, they have licensed professionals to do massage therapy, facials, and waxing, all in the comfort of your own home.
Meaning they'll travel to me? Oh, I need that number right now.
Their number is easy, 866-8-DIVINE, or 866-834-8463. Or even check out their website, www.divinemdconcierge.com.
Thank you so much. I'm going to call them right now and make an appointment for today.
Now about those reports.
Welcome. I am Sky Shy Travels, Janice Temple, your host for the Sky Shy Travel Guide, every Travel Tuesday at 1 p.m. on UBM Talk. I was also a flight attendant for 7 years at a regional carrier where I flew across the United States, Canada, and the Bahamas. We are going to talk about flight tales, flying insider secrets, and flying hot topics. Check me out every Tuesday at 1 p.m. on urbanbroadcastmedia.com.
Urban Broadcast Media, proudly broadcasting from studios located in the Bronzeville community in the city of Chicago. Heard around the world at urbanbroadcastmedia.com. UBM Talk, servicing the community and beyond.
It is the Diva MD Show. Welcome back to the Divas Lounge. You guys know that this is one of my favorite segments of the show where I get to let my hair down and hang out with some of my peoples. And some of my peoples are here today. And this is going to be a very nice, relaxing, calm, I think. I don't know. I don't really know, but we'll figure it out. I have a co-host with me tonight. We haven't done this before, so this is going to be interesting. I am going to introduce you guys to Poetry Tap. Hey.
Good morning.
It is clearly almost 9 o'clock at night.
It's morning somewhere in the world
you
right
know
now.
What? Can't deal with you right now.
Got to be more careful.
Poetry Tap is a very accomplished lyricist. His flow is ridiculous. I love listening to him speak. He is funny, hilarious. Tell us what you're doing right now.
I'm basically an all-around entertainer. Mostly host and do some poetry. Also a little bit of comedy here and there, but I'm no comedian. And I'm Luther Vandross in the shower too.
Boom. Sometimes let's hear it.
Right there.
Come on, let me get a little shower going.
Nah. See, I gotta have, the wife beater with the slits on the side so I can rip it off real easy.
You're supposed to be in the shower though.
No, but when it get wet, like you rip it off. No. This is not the show for that.
Well, you have brought some friends with you.
Yes, I did. I brought some beautiful friends of mine. Got one of my mentees here and two of the greatest
cute,
female poets to ever touch Chicago dirt. Do not tell him that. You're going to blow the boy head up. He's only 15.
That's why he's so cute.
Well, they say he looked like me anyway, so he's supposed to be cute.
Well, I don't know.
Got to be more careful.
Keep introducing.
So, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to say their names and then tell everybody a little bit about them. And then, they're going to do their thing. They're going to show you what they got. So first up is my mentee. He goes by the name of JM. 15 years old. He wrote a piece, 16? Did I lose something?
Why are you saying my age all along?
Oh, okay.
Now you talking about me embarrassing him.
It's amazing. and I'm going to tell you why it's amazing. Here we live in Chicago and they call it Chirac, and you can go on any street these days and find a 15-year-old doing something way worse than what this kid is doing. So I love what he's doing with himself. Shout out to his mom who's in the studio right now.
Hey,
who's
Mom.
really building them up and doing something right. And so, he's speaking, this piece that he's about to do is called Let Me Live, I believe. And
Let Me Die.
Let Me Die. And he's speaking from that perspective of the kids that go through some of the things that we've been seeing in the news. So I'm going to let him get out the way and let him do his thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my boy J.M.
JM to the Divas Lyrical Lounge. Hey, we done changed it up. Go ahead, JM.
You guys ready for this? Okay. Try not to mess up. Let me die as an old man, not young and in the grave. America is supposed to be the home of the free and the land of the brave, but why are we afraid of gays? Whether I'm 92 or 63, please just let me be in a world where I don't have to get killed for what's on my feet. Let me die as an old man, because so far being young isn't fun. They expect children of our color not to pull out on knowledge, but pull on the trigger of a gun. Let me die as an old man, so maybe one day me and my friend Lariah could talk, and I could tell her everything that happened when God gave her that final call. Or I could turn around to my best friend Dariel and tell him that he died at an early age and say that I'm so sorry to see that he couldn't make it past the 7th grade. Let me die as an old man. Let me die as an old man. So one day I could repay Poetry Tap for everything he gave to me. He saw my dream and he made a way for me. Let me die as an old man, because right now I'm not afraid of what my legacy will be. I'm just afraid of dying because I like Arizona and I'd rather eat Skittles with the green tea. Let me die as an old man because I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid because my generation is crying. Let me die as an old man because so far being young just seems what's not to do. Let me die as an old man because being young just seems so impossible. And that's our piece.
Yes.
Come on, give it up for JM.
Nice.
None of that snapping.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to talk about that.
We might not have time.
We talking about that.
Okay, so that was JM, you guys. I also brought with me.
Wait a minute. I want to talk to JM.
Talk to JM. I'm sorry.
I need to hear what's going on. JM, what inspired you to do that piece?
Basically, when I was in 7th grade, a friend of mine died from an asthma attack. So, as a kid, you really don't think of like dying. Like you think everybody's going to live forever. So
yeah, absolutely.
When that happened, I was just like, people my age die. I'm like, okay. And then
sobering.
Coincidentally, actually, when I met Poetry Tap, it was because my friend's sister had died from the same way that my other friend had died when I was 7th grade. So, I just wrote it because, it just seems like nowadays being young, like that's all you get to do. Like nobody thinks about, hey, I'm going to be 52 doing this, or hey, I'm going to be 88 doing this. Like we're just worried about being 16, wondering like if we get Concords or something, somebody's going to kill us for what's on our feet. So, yeah.
It's a totally, totally different time now. And just hearing you say that brings tears to my eyes because it's so real. Our kids are dying in the streets literally every day. And, it's time that we step up and we do something about it. Even just raising awareness, about what's going on in a city through poetry, through activism, through posts on Instagram. Everybody should be posting something. We're clearly a social world right now. And pretty much people get their news and their medical information and their just everything off of social media, right? So why not, instead of being a negative medium, we start posting things that are more enlightening and a little bit more positive, especially, our youth. So I applaud you. I think you are doing a wonderful thing.
Thank
and
you.
I actually think you may have a pretty decent mentor.
Woo! I accept that. I accept that.
I was
job.
like low key scared because he told me not to call him by his real name this whole time.
Better not.
I'm like, dang, Poetry Tap.
I know it's in my head too. I got it.
Last time I got him, he actually did his first feature a couple of weeks ago on the west side of Chicago. Shout out to him. And the man got up there and said my real name in front of all these people.
It was on accident. Like I was draking. I was acting a little light skinned. I was like a little emotional. It was
I know, right? I'm a little light
nothing
skinned
wrong
over
with
here
light
too.
skin. There's nothing wrong with
Nothing wrong with
light skin. Like it's honestly a joke because like when we say that, like when kids say that, like we don't mean it to be discrimination.
You just in a you in a room full of old heads.
You
That's
got
all.
you got a whole lot of light skinned people in here, and one person who loves them. So you in trouble.
Better watch your back after the show.
Shout out to all the light skins.
There you go. That's what's up.
No, don't try to suck up now. So we gonna keep this thing moving right along. I brought one of the most beautiful poets. I brought two of the most beautiful female poets in Chicago. One of them right now, she is well accomplished, has her own CD titled "Giving Up the Goods," and it's only $5, y'all. $5.
Where can they find it?
You know what? You're gonna have to find her on Facebook. She'll let you know when she gets done spitting her piece. But poetry is not just entertainment. I know whenever you guys see me, for those of y'all that don't know me, whenever you see me, I more so try to be more entertaining. That's how I try to change people's lives. Absolutely. I try to pull you away from the pain that you're going through by entertaining you, giving you a show. Other poets, they touch you, they show you that what they've been through. And so she has a testimony, and I just wanted to bring it to you all, let her bring it to you all. The first time I ever heard this piece, it brought me to tears. And I don't come to tears for too much of anything, but this piece really did something for me. And so I really felt like it fit the night. So I just want you guys to give it up for my girl, Good and Plenty.
All right, Good and Plenty.
She woke one morning feeling a little queasy, and this feeling had her a little uneasy, so she made an appointment to go see the doc, thinking he would just write a prescription or give her a shot. She took a few tests and sat on that cold slab table, and the doctor came in a few minutes later. Well, he says, apparently you're pregnant. What are you going to do? Are you planning to have it? So she went on home to tell her man about their plight, and he actually took it very well, much to her delight. A month or so went by, and she still didn't feel like she oughta. Couldn't keep down anything, no food, not even water. So she made an appointment to go to the doc, thinking he would just write a prescription or give her a shot. And once again, she took a few tests and sat on that cold slab table, and the doctor came in a few minutes later. The look on his face was very grim, and she asked, "What's wrong? What's happening?" He had tears in his eyes as he gave her an answer. "I'm sorry, my dear, but I'm afraid you've got cancer." "Cancer," she cried, "but how can this be, and what is to come of my pregnancy?" For this kind of news, she wasn't fully prepared, but he only added to her grief when he looked at her and said, "No longer do you have a seed in your womb, but the fetus you're carrying has turned into a tumor. You have a rare condition associated with your pregnancy. It's when the embryo just stops developing and there is no miscarriage, and nor does it pass. It just grows into this cancerous mass." And it was downhill from there. She went from doctor to doctor as each one stuck her and pressed her and poked her and prodded. But through it all, she kept her faith, and every day she'd pray for God's healing grace, and every morning she'd look up in the sky and say, "Lord, please don't let me die. See, I got a man and 2 kids to look after. Just give me one more chance to hear his laughter." Before long, she had to be hospitalized. She was losing her struggle. You could see it in her eyes. She was pretty, but with her appearance, she didn't care. Her mama had to come to the hospital just to comb her hair. She had MMIs and MRIs, IVs and CATs. The doctor said she needed surgery, said they wanted to perform a DNC and also a laparoscopy so they could get a good look at her ovaries. And then, depending on what they would see, would probably perform a hysterectomy followed up by some doses of chemotherapy. After hearing his words, she signed the consent forms and prepared for her surgery the following morning. See, she didn't understand where she had gone wrong and started begging God's forgiveness for the things that she had done. And through it all, she kept her faith, and every day she'd pray for God's healing grace. And every morning she'd look up at the sky and say, "Lord, please don't let me die. See, I got a man and 2 kids to look after. Just give me one more chance to hear their laughter." So later that eve, she began to perceive that maybe this wasn't a part of God's plan, that perhaps her illness might be the devil's hand. So she rebuked Satan and commanded him out of her life and asked the Lord to help her with her fight. She continued her vigil all through the night, right up until it was time for the surgeon's knife. As she lay in the OR whispering and chanting, and all of a sudden her stomach started cramping. She turned her head and spit up something green and then looked at the nurse and said, "I can't breathe." She remembered the nurse giving her an injection and people running in all different directions. And right before she closed her eyes, she said, "Lord, please don't let me die. See, I got a man and 2 kids to look after. Just give me one more chance to hear their laughter." She awoke in recovery and looked up at the ceiling, realizing she no longer had that feeling. See, there had been a battle fought for her life, a battle fought between wrong and right, and it was well with her soul. The devil had lost his stronghold. And there would be no chemotherapy. She wouldn't even need a hysterectomy. She was released from the hospital the very next day, praising God for her life that he saved. And to God I give praise, and to him be the glory as I live to tell my own true story.
Yes.
That's my piece.
Come on.
Yes.
Breathtaking, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
And she wanted to light a candle.
I did. You know what? I had the mood set for this whole shindig for Diva's Lyrical Lounge. I wanted to snap. I got,
I didn't do it. I just
Poetry
made some
Sap said
education.
I
She
can't
called me
snap.
Sap.
You're supposed to let that slide.
No, I meant it.
I'm a sap.
I meant it. You won't let me snap.
Hey, if I gotta get your name right, she do too. So
Yeah.
you better like talk to her about that.
You better talk to me like
I
that.
have to find a different way to talk to her.
Because you know it ain't gonna work. Man, that was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
it's even more interesting that it's a true story.
Yes, ma'am.
Because that is a very, very rare condition. We're talking about a molar pregnancy.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, thank you for sharing that with us.
And I want you guys to run over to Facebook right now. Look up DeMonica Good and Plenty Render.
Good and
All right. Send that inbox. No, don't even send the inbox. Put it on the wall. Look, got to have that CD right now. All right. Giving up the goods. All right. So we're going to move right on. We're going to go all the way to Indiana this time. I had to bring a special friend of mine. One of the most spiritual poets in the world. I thought I was for a minute, until I ran into this young lady. And then I'm like, okay, she got me beat. Man, everything about her poetry just speaks Jesus and speaks God. And that's like the most beautiful thing in the world. So I'm going to start trying to take her everywhere I go. Now that I know she gets around, she's all the way from Michigan City, Indiana, and comes to Chicago almost every weekend to be at all of the open mics and all of the poetry sets. She is just doing her thing right now. But I'm going to step out of her way and let her go. Give it up for my girl, Amy Panay.
Woo, woo, woo.
All right, Amy. You can't handle the truth. The naysayers say, but we know the truth and have accepted the God's honest truth. And upon that, we hang our hats, our hearts, and our spiritual pants. We rest with the best dressed, no lie, all-knowing God. Rest assured that every word that departs from him and those he sent is sent, shot straight from the hip in what is and what is not. No deception, just reflection of the Lord's truest intentions of his children's protections, which seat belt us into life with Christ. Put on the full armor of God. Embrace yourself and pray, even as the devil preys upon you. As we write the tables of the word across the hearts that we share, we must protect our hearts, continuously work to perfect our hearts from hurts and wrongs. Wear the word as though you've heard no less than the words of the best, the most high God. Put on the full armor of God, and with all thy getting, get an understanding of the impossible. Take the impossible and make I'm possible. Get it? I'm possible. Stay ready and be able to apply the word to your world. Remind yourself Jesus came down to give you life more abundantly. So prepare yourself to face the enemy and live life triumphantly. Put on the full armor of God. And when doubt creeps in, say, my God, oh my God, he's on his way to save this day. And behind your shield of faith, stay and wait on God. And there, put on the full armor of God, because our thoughts are not his thoughts. We think on trash while he thinks on treasure. We're stinking thinking, and he's grandiose thinking. But with our minds stayed on Christ, we can resist the devil and he'll flee. And he'll flee and we'll remain free. Put on the full armor of God. The word is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. The sword is your offense to your defense in your full armor of God.
Yes.
Give it up for Amy, y'all.
Yes,
Come on.
Amy. Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I love it when we use our talents to uplift Christ. That makes my heart happy. It is a wonderful thing, and I'm glad that you were able to bring that side of poetry and lyricism. Is that a word? Poetry talent?
I'm sorry, it is a word. And you're in the midst of poets. We make up words.
Clearly,
okay?
Hey, then maybe I should have been a poet.
The title of my first book was a made up word.
Which was what?
Demonin.
Who?
See?
Okay.
I'll explain later.
That's another conversation. But absolutely. Thank you so much, Amy. That was awesome.
Thank you.
So we have one more. Yes? We better.
Do we?
Better.
Where?
Poetry Tap, you better come with it.
Got to be more careful.
You know? Thank
so,
you.
okay, we've touched on everything, huh? There are no more subjects.
You are so full of it. All right. Introducing
Got to be more careful.
Poetry Chat.
Trap chat.
He's gone from
Say
sap
my
to
name,
chat.
say my name. Get it right when you say it.
You the sap in the chat.
Got to be more careful. She's not used to calling me Poetry Tap.
I'm not. Y'all, it just don't flow off my lips like, okay. Poetry Tap to the mic. Boom.
How can I know your thoughts? Don't get me wrong, see, your outer beauty isn't lacking, but the mental copulation is a must for us to get intimately close without the lust. In order to delete the sexual epiphanies that come with the first impression, I just want to pick your mind and find what will help me give you an everlasting injection of godliness. And do you mind if I take you by the hand and just know your name? See, I want to subdue an interludes of the greatness of God for the Christian relationship that we may pursue as we approach one of those climatic altitudes of new mental sensational conversations. So in layman's terms, I just want to know the things about you that come from your heart and your brain. And I'm sorry, cuz this is not one of those trying to get into your pants poetic passages that those other dudes would speak. See, I want to engage you by dropping down on one knee, placing a ring of Jesus-like ideas on your mind and getting married to the thoughts that you think. Then together we'll build a pool and fill it with the mental secretions of your brainstorm. And I shall face dive and do every swim move alive with my ears from the breaststroke to the backstroke through your ideas. See, I'm not like those other brothers. They'll offer you 69 bad ways while with their eyes giving you dirty looks. But I'll look you in the eyes, tell you Jesus is alive, then offer you 66 books. Then we'll start with talking about how every Greg, John, and Tyrone did you in, and then end with me showing you how Peter, Paul, and 10 other dudes used to kick it with the man that died for our sins. So I feel like that's reason enough to forget about them. Just let me love you. Because I want to spiritually hug you and mentally kiss you so that your intellectual blood pressure would rise and I get to touch that soft aquafina from your lips that you call your voice. And at that moment, I'd say we'd had no choice but to rejoice in the Lord, for he has paid the cost. Because I was praying for beauty beyond the sexual advance, and you were praying for a real man, so he brought our paths together, and that led to me asking you, how could I know your thoughts? And that's that piece.
That's that piece, y'all. Poetry Tap in the building.
I did not come here with expectations of spitting anything. Been on the road
devil is
for
a
a
liar.
long time. That's why I brought my friends.
We already know that was going to happen. So how did you guys all meet?
Well, we talked about Juwan and I. A friend of his died, and he's a friend of my cousin. They go to the same school. They're best friends. I really think they're
shout out to Lyrica KTS and
Yeah,
her whole
they
family
are
because they're
listening
listening
right
to me
now.
right now.
They are listening.
And shout out to Upward Bound. while we're at it.
Shout out.
Shout out to the greatest woman, and like on some serious stuff, like without even laughing or joking, like I would not be half the person that I am because of her. Like shout out to my mom, and she's like here, so.
And
yeah.
what's so funny, y'all? She in the background. You better shout out to your mama.
If I didn't shout her out, oh man, I would have.
That's a long ride back to South Holland. And then definitely these two young ladies I met while being part of one of the greatest poetry teams that I've ever been a part of, POET, People of Extraordinary Talent. We were all members together. Well, they still members. For one reason or another, I had to part ways, but I'm still friends. I still love them, and they still come out for me, and I ain't even had to pay them.
That's what's up.
Praise the Lord.
I mean, we're not getting
Hallelujah.
Wait. Right.
I was going to ask y'all for a donation to the show. Y'all didn't read the contract? Y'all didn't read that?
No, I said 1 poem free, 2 poems $50. That's why I only asked for one. That's why we only doing 30 minutes.
We could go get a burger after this, y'all. A turkey burger.
Got to be more careful.
Mine is the bread.
Minus the bread. You don't eat bread?
I am on a bread fast right now.
Good, because I'm on a meat fast. So
Oh, well then you
I can
okay.
eat the bread,
You
you
can
can
eat
eat the
both.
meat.
Could eat no fat.
Perfect.
His wife could eat no lean.
Perfect. So where can everyone find you guys?
We said the Monica.
Come on, I want you to give it to everybody. If you haven't,
Let's do this. Let's check this out. Run over to poetrytap.com, POETRYTAP.com. You're gonna find me on every social network in the world there, I promise you. Once you find me, all of my friends will be right there smiling too. So you add them also. I have like 4,000 of them, so make sure you add each and everybody.
all 4,000?
All 4,000.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna be popular. I promise you.
I got it. And if you guys are just tuning in, you missed it. You missed an awesome Divas Lyrical Lounge. It was so fabulous with some very talented. This is a talented room. Oh my goodness, you guys have some skills that is okay. Y'all want to hear my poem?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's check it out. You got 3 minutes.
I really don't have one, okay? But truthfully, back in the day when I was younger, I thought I was like
I heard you
gonna
was a
be
TLC.
like the next. Oh, yeah, okay. We're not gonna talk about that with attorney Gina Harrison over in the corner. We used to have a group, y'all. Second Nature. We were some little TLCs want to be, but we were bad. We would actually perform around the city of Chicago. We were in some demand.
So
okay?
maybe we're gonna have to bring y'all back together, get a reunion.
Y'all okay? We're gonna do a video downstairs.
And I'll throw the show featuring Second Nature.
Yeah, Second Nature in the house. We got to get Tarita Walker back in the building.
All right, let's do that.
Back in Chicago. So thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been one of my favorite Divas Lounge, and it's now Divas Lyrical Lounge. If you guys promise me you will come back and visit me and spit some more. Sure. Yes, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Thank you. All right, you got talking to Mike, because if you don't talk to Mike, they don't believe you. We got to get this on tape. So you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, DivaMD929. You can also find me on Facebook, DivaMD.DiscoverYourself. I am Dr. Shanika Williams. It has been a fabulous time. I really appreciate you guys spending the time with me. The whole purpose of this show is for empowerment, enlightenment, to keep you motivated so that you guys continue to do great things in your life. God has some serious plans for you. So I want you, each and every one of you, to walk in your purpose. And with that, I will see you guys next week, same time, same place, every Friday night, 8 to 9 p.m., the Diva MD Show. I'm a